Hello and welcome. What is Git? Git is a free and open source distributed version control system designed to handle everything from small to very large projects with speed and efficiency. Let's focus on version control system. What is version control system? It tracks and manages changes to the files. It maintains complete history of changes. It provides version control, rollback, branching, merging, collaboration, and many more. Why do we need version control system? What is version control system? And why do we need version control system? Let's understand this with simplified example. In this example, I am not using version control system. I am a developer and I am working on a website project. Day 1, I created index.html file and then I added navbar to the project. Day 2, I modified the index.html file and added hero image hero section to the project. Day 3, I added heading to project. Day 4, I decided to change navbar color. So I changed the color of navbar. But later I realized I do not like the new color of navbar. So now I need to revert the changes. So I need to remember what changes I made and I will have to revert that changes manually. In our example, it's just one file. But what if I had made changes to 10 or 20 files? It would be difficult for me to remember exactly what changes I made. We can solve this issue using version control system. Here I will talk about Git version control system. Now I will use the same example with Git version control system. So with Git you can create checkpoints. Day 1, first I will initialize the project. Then I will add navbar, and after adding navbar I will create a checkpoint. On day 2 I will add hero image hero section, and after adding hero image section I will create another checkpoint. Git keeps track of what was updated in each checkpoint. At what time, in which file, what changes were made, it keeps track of everything. Each checkpoint has the history of changes. Day 3, after adding heading to project, I will create another checkpoint. On day 4, I will change navbar color, and after that I will create another checkpoint. Now I will talk about rollback. So on day 5, I realized the new color of navbar is not good. I do not like that color. So using Git, I can roll back to this checkpoint. I do not need to modify any code manually. But after roll back to this checkpoint, these changes are not lost. Okay, so next let's talk about branching. So on day 6, I can create a new branch from this checkpoint. So I create a new branch from this checkpoint, then I added a paragraph and then I created another checkpoint. Day 7, I decided to add footer, and after adding footer, I created another checkpoint. So now you can see is that I created a branch from this checkpoint. Then I added footer and I created another checkpoint with this branch. Now let's talk about merging. Now I want this navbar and I want to keep this checkpoint. So I can create another checkpoint by merging these two checkpoints. Okay, so next I will talk about collaboration. Git provides collaboration so multiple developers can work on same project simultaneously and coordinating their changes efficiently. Now I will give you an example where there is no Git, no collaboration. So I'm working in a company where multiple developers work on same project. So here developer 1 is working on navbar, developer 2 is working on hero section, and developer 3 is working on footer. They all are in different locations. Okay, so they all worked on their local machine. Developer 1 created navbar, developer 2 created hero section, developer 3 created footer. Now all this code they have in their local machine. So developer 1 has this navbar code on his local machine, developer 2 has hero section code on his local machine, developer 3 has footer code on his local machine. Now how can developer 1 get the code of hero section from developer 2 and footer code from developer 3? In short, how can they share their code with each other? Let's see this same example with Git collaboration. So here developer 1 is working on navbar, developer 2 is working on hero section, and developer 3 is working on footer. So developers will make changes locally on their machine and then they will push it to the server. What is server? Later in this video I will tell you. So now developer 1 created navbar and updated it to the server. Developer 2 created hero section and updated it to server. Developer 3 created footer and updated it to the server. Now server has all three developers code. Now developer can get that updated code from server to his local machine. Same developer 2 can get that updated code from server to his local machine, and developer 3 can get that updated code from server to his local machine. So now all three developers have each other's code. So developers can work offline. They do not need to be connected to this server to make changes on their local machine. They can work on their local machine. Later they can push their code to the server. Git keeps track of all developer changes. By using Git, each developer can create their own checkpoint on their local machine, and they can also roll back to the previous checkpoint. Version control system types: centralized version control system and decentralized or distributed version control system. In centralized version control system, all project files are stored on this server. Developer pulls the latest version of the file from this server. Then developer works locally on this file and then commits the changes directly to this server. This local machine does not have the history of all changes. This system is dependent on the network connection with the server. This server acts as a single point of failure. If due to any reason this server fails, then there is a possibility of loss of the data. Distributed version control system. In distributed version control system, all developers have entire project with its history on their local machine. Developers can commit changes in their local repository. For this, connection with the server is not required. connection with the server not required to commit changes locally. After committing changes to their local repository, developers can push their local repository changes to server repository. They can pull the latest changes from server repository to local repository. So for example, this developer made changes, then committed those changes to local repository, and then pushed that changes to the server. So there is no single point of failure. Git is a distributed version control system. What is GitHub? GitHub is a platform for hosting, managing, and collaborating on projects using Git for version control. Now let's revise Git and GitHub. So developers installs Git on their local machine. Then using it, they create checkpoints on their local machine. They can roll back to previous checkpoints. They can merge checkpoints. They can make changes in their code and then they can commit it to the local repository. After committing the changes to the local repository, they can push that code that changes to the server. This server is GitHub.